When I'm looking for people to interview, I'm always looking for people who intrigue me. And when I ran across Erika Prince and the extrusion line she's running from her house, guys, you've got to be really brave to run an extrusion line at your home. And you won't believe what she has done in a year. She's only been printing for a year. So watch this interview. I hope you learn some new things about her. And if you've never heard of Erika Prince, follow her and become a part of what she's doing. She's doing some really cool stuff over there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Erika Prince. Erika, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm
Good.
good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for being here. Everybody wave hey. Everybody in the peanut gallery wave hello. Let her know how excited you are for her to be here. I see you hanging out over in TikTok. I guess TikTok is kind of your primary place that you hang out.
Yeah, I'm mostly on TikTok.
Okay.
When we went dark for a couple of days, I was over on Instagram a bit, but I'm mostly on TikTok.
Okay. I got you. That's cool. Now, do you ever go live on TikTok yourself?
Occasionally,
Okay.
I set a goal last year. I was gonna go live once a week, and then I did it twice. So almost,
Okay,
almost,
almost.
you
Hey, it's
know.
a start. It's a start. Yeah, everybody's saying they love your videos. Dud said he just saw her new video. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, she's having a lot of fun over there. And we're going to really dig into the things that she's doing over there. But I always like to do some of those other questions first. Like, how's the weather where you're living? Right now, that's a weird question.
Terrible, terrible. So I'm in Houston, or a
Oh,
little bit north of Houston,
okay.
and we've actually got snow. We've got snow
Oh,
right now,
wow.
which is crazy. We got 4 inches of snow almost over the week. So I've been in
Wow.
my house all week long. I guess I should say I don't really know how the weather is because I have not left my house.
Wow, that is crazy for Houston. My family's from Mississippi. They didn't get any, but then you have like Biloxi and half the places in Florida getting snow. It's just been a weird time of year this year.
Really, really weird. And in Houston, we can't drive anyways. So you throw snow on top of it, and that's why I'm not leaving my house.
That's true. That is true. Dud, she says you're not a good driver. Just so you know, you're not a good driver, Dud. Oh, it looks like you're giving. Oh, he's saying she gives me some really crazy ideas. So there you go. There you go. At least you're idea swapping. That's important. That's
Perfect.
important. Inspired by Tom Lee. How are you doing? Granny Susie, good to see you. Hey, yeah, I understand, Rains. I understand. None of that talk here, buddy. No, I'm picking. But yeah. So you're in Houston, or oh, you said north of Houston and everything. It's snowing. Are you originally from Houston?
No, I'm originally from Kansas, so I
Oh,
did deal with the snow up until a few years ago, and then I
okay.
moved to Texas thinking I was done with snow.
Okay, so you know snow, so you can
Yeah,
legitimately say Texans are horrible in snow. You
I
can,
can, I
okay,
can.
that's good. That's good. Um, so what are you drinking tonight? I always ask that.
Topo Chico, the strawberry flavor.
I do not even know that drink. What is that?
It's a hard seltzer.
Okay,
Uh, it's really good.
okay.
It's in my opinion, best hard seltzer.
Best hard seltzer. Say it again.
Yes. Topo Chico.
Topo Chico. Topo Chico. Anybody know Topo Chico? Texans can't drive in the rain either, and I'm a Texan,
I
says
do.
Bionic. I'm
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, I got the wine tonight, just a little bit of wine, and then always the mug with coffee in it that I love to plug over at asylumlife.com. Anyway, so there's
Gotta have
t-shirts over there
coffee.
too. Woo! Are you a coffee? You're not a coffee drinker?
Oh, I love coffee.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All day, every day.
What's your favorite coffee?
Espresso.
Okay. Now, do you have a certain bean that you like?
Not really. I like to get beans when I travel.
Okay.
So I'll buy something from wherever I'm at, and then use that one for a while. And I like to do it that way rather
Okay.
than having like, oh, these are my set beans.
I gotcha. No, I understand. I understand. I actually roasted coffee for a couple of years, and so I'm
Really?
always interested in what beans people use and what they like. And um, yeah, I'm a Peruvian bean guy. Now I don't have them a lot. I don't want to spoil it for myself, but there's one of
Yeah.
my favorite coffee beans. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the coffee shop where I went to school, they were like really big on all their beans were Colombian, and that was the whole thing. And
Okay.
so then I was, if I had to pick one, I'd pick that.
Okay. Okay. Well, that works. Colombian's always a good choice. No matter where
It
you
is.
are, Colombian's a good choice. What do we got up here? We got okay, Dragon Girl apparently knows Topo Chico.
See,
So
good
that's
taste.
awesome. I like coffee bean. Nate, you like ice cream. You don't like coffee bean. So stop telling a
Also good
lie.
choices.
Stop telling a lie. Anyway, well, cool. Well, that's pretty cool. Now, so Kansas, are you like an only child? Do you have other children around you, siblings?
Yeah, I've got two sisters,
Oh,
an
okay.
older and a younger. I'm a middle child,
Ooh, oh, the middle child. The
which is why I'm here on social media, looking for attention.
Yeah. I had a brother who was the youngest. So it was me and my brother. We were 3 years apart.
Mhm.
And then 10 years later, my sister was born. And so he became the middle child after being the youngest child
The
for a
youngest.
while. He's really thrown off, really, really thrown off.
He doesn't
And
even know what he's supposed to be
yeah,
doing birth order wise.
yeah, he doesn't do social media and he climbs telephone poles for a living. So he just, he tries to get out of everything. I have a friend bringing me coffee back from the Dominican Republic. That should be a good one. The ones down in South America are always pretty sweet. They have a lot of cane fields down there, so you get a lot of cross pollination between the cane and the beans. So it's a lot of fun. That's awesome. That is awesome. So, sisters, Kansas.
Yeah.
Like, what made you leave Kansas?
Jobs,
Okay.
Kansas is a lot of small towns, and so it was there weren't a lot of options for what I wanted to do there. I'm in
Okay.
medical research,
I was
and
hoping for
so
tornado, but we'll take that answer. Um,
also tornadoes. I will take a tornado over a hurricane any day.
hmm.
Controversial opinion.
At least you can kind of see it and it's not like all around you, right? It's
Well, and they just pop up. There's
it-
not a lot of, a hurricane. They tell you like 2 weeks in advance something might be coming. Gives you a lot of
right.
time to worry. A
That's
lot of time
true.
to worry about it.
That is true. That is very true. Well, that's cool. So you moved in for work. Well, we'll back up some more because I'm really interested in like you're doing the filament thing, and I know you did some
Mhm.
stuff prior to that. And I'm just kind of interested. The small town in Kansas that you were from, and you don't have to say it or anything, but when you say small, what are we talking? Like, are we talking? It's a city or it's just a town?
It's a city.
It's
It's
a
a city.
okay.
Yeah, I don't mind. Wichita, it's actually a
Okay.
bigger city for being in Kansas.
I
It's
gotcha.
just, living here, it's, kind of small town compared to Houston.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm originally from Wichita, which is in kind of southern Kansas.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know where Wichita is. That's cool. And so, did you live out in the rural areas? Were you in the city itself? What?
Wichita is like one giant suburb.
Okay.
And so I was living in Wichita, but it's very, very suburban, it feels small town, I'd say, compared to other
Oh, okay.
similarly sized cities. Everything
Okay.
you need is just, right there. I tease my mother-in-law because she never leaves more than 2 miles from her house.
So they kind of have the little things, almost like the 15
Hmm.
minute cities where
Right.
everything's within a certain amount of time. Okay.
Absolutely. We
That
were
is
there for
cool.
Christmas. We wanted to go to a restaurant. It was 5 miles away. She was like, "Do you really want to drive that far?" Uh,
That is great. That is awesome. I know a few people like that. I know a few people like that. Let's order Uber Eats or something and let's stay in. So I know a lot of people. Okay, so now did you go to college there? Did you go away for college?
So I went away for a bit. I went to the University of Memphis in Tennessee, but then I did come back to Kansas and go to the University of Kansas, and that's where I graduated. Was the University of Kansas, and then that's where I went to grad school there too.
Okay. Okay. Now I have a feeling were you a tomboy growing up?
Actually, I was not.
You weren't
Um,
really.
no,
I would have really bet money on that one. It's
I
a
mean,
good thing. I love get. I'm not saying that bad way. I just
yeah, no, I guess in some ways I had a lot of kind of boy hobbies. I played with Legos. I did some of those. But I was a competitive gymnast as a kid,
oh,
and then
that's
converted to cheerleading to get to college. Get a college scholarship.
that were. Oh, so you got a scholarship on cheerleading. Okay. Okay.
That was what I was originally, and then I ended up Ended up with hip surgery in high school, and so I ended up not going for
Ooh.
cheerleading.
Oh,
I had
okay.
to figure out the books and whatnot instead.
Well, so what were your interests? So if you were doing gymnastics, that takes up a lot of time.
It
Gymnastics
did.
is like a lifestyle. It's not
Absolutely.
just a little thing. So was that just kind of, did you fully invest yourself in that? Did you have
So it was
aspirations to like Olympics or anything?
not really. I was never, I always wanted to be really good. But really I was never going to be, I was never going to the Olympics. I would never have gone to college for gymnastics. I knew that really early. But I did think by converting to cheerleading, you take all your tumbling, all the stuff you can do over to cheerleading,
Hmm.
and then you can get a better option there. A lot more gymnastics, or a lot fewer gymnastics scholarships than cheerleading or something else.
Okay. Did you
My
have,
sister took the
oh,
same thing and did pole vaulting. The pipeline of childhood gymnast to college pole vaulter is a larger pipeline than you would think.
really? I, gue-
Yes.
I guess I could see that. I mean, you've kind of got to be fearless to do either one of them at some point. I could
And the
almost.
ability to control your body.
Right, right.
Yeah.
No, no, I can see that. I can see that. That's interesting. I've never thought about that. I always
Yeah,
wondered
it's a weird one.
what balance beam people did. Like after, if they didn't succeed, where did they use that talent? What did they, you know?
I can stand on one foot for a really long time.
There you go. You could walk across the lines on a bridge. You could,
Yeah, yeah.
work
You
poles
can
that
climb
way.
across the top of a fence still.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you doing? Guys, we are here interviewing Erika Prince. We're just having a lot of fun. If you have questions in here, please put them in the peanut gallery and let me know things that you want to know about her. We are going to get into, I promise we're going to get into her videos. We're going to get into all the stuff that she does over there. I just really want to know a little bit more about how she got where she is now. I did not expect gymnastics moving into cheerleading, moving into college. And so, my next question is always, what was your college major then? What did you end up?
Neurobiology.
Neurobiology.
Yes.
Now, where did that jump come from? How did you choose that major?
I wanted to be a neurobiologist. I wanted to be, or a neurologist at the
Okay.
time. I was going to go to med school. I was going to do the whole thing. And so neurobiology because I wanted to work with kids with autism.
Okay. Now, is that
Yeah.
something in high school you even thought about? Did you always kind of have that
Yeah.
in the back of your mind?
Yeah. I volunteered in high school with some charitable organizations that worked with kids with autism,
Okay.
teaching swimming lessons. Because I lifeguarded for years and years,
Cool.
and so I taught a lot of swim lessons, but then I did special needs swim lessons, and that got me really interested in autism, and that's where I wanted to go into neurology from
Okay.
there.
Now, explain neurology. Like, give me kind of a big compass of what neurology encapsulates.
Yeah, so I mean, if you were going to be in the hospital doing it, you'd probably end up with a lot of stroke patients, a lot of that. I knew I wanted to be on the research side of things
Okay.
pretty early, not necessarily working in a hospital seeing patients every day. I wanted to be on the research side, but clinically with patients is what I thought I'd wanted to do.
Okay.
And it really wasn't until I got into school and I started working in a research lab and I was working with mice that I realized that mice are actually cooler than people.
I would agree. I would agree. I lived in Mississippi. I had mice and possums as pets, so
See?
I liked my pets. Oh, so okay, so now I'm starting to see kind of that connection of research. I get that
Yeah.
now. Okay, so I
Yeah,
see
with the
that.
research, my goal was always research.
Okay, no, so you graduated from college. Your
Hmm.
neurobiology is what you said. You
Hmm.
graduated in that
Yes.
and moved on into a job. Now, did you work in a job in
So
your
I didn't.
major or?
I went straight into grad school.
Oh,
From my undergrad, I immediately joined a program in pharmacology, toxicology, so that's drug development.
okay.
Um, and I was doing research in drug development for Alzheimer's disease
And there's your
and other.
chemistry. There's your chemistry,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
We're finding it. See, this
we're
is the
getting there.
story.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is cool. Okay.
Yeah, I actually did a minor in chemistry in my undergrad. So I did a lot of
Oh,
organic chemistry in my undergrad and then kind of carried that forward and
okay.
was developing small molecules for for
Guys,
neurodegeneration.
I need to leave the room. She's developing small molecules. I have nothing else to
Well,
ask.
they're very
She's
small. They're very small.
I love it. That is awesome. That is I don't know that I've ever known I live up near DC, and so I know a lot of people who do a lot of interesting things, but I don't think I've ever known anybody that made small molecules. Talk about that a little bit. That's an
Sure.
intriguing thing to me.
Yeah, so drug development kind of falls into a bunch of different classifications of what you're trying to do. You have things like vaccines where you're trying to change how the immune system works, interact with the immune system. Small molecules is a relatively new in the last like 30 years, not that new. But compared to 200 years on some of these vaccine things,
Yeah.
anyway. But where you're and trying to design molecules that will bind specifically to proteins and receptors that you've chosen really carefully and you're targeting really specifically. The idea being that there'll be fewer side effects,
Okay.
fewer off-target
Okay.
interactions.
Okay.
If you think of like an Advil or something has a
Right.
really generic the way it works is really generic, and that's where you can get weird side effects like a stomach ache from
Right.
it. The
Right.
idea with a small molecule is that it's gonna, in my case, go straight through the blood-brain barrier,
Mm-hmm.
find its target there in the brain, and really not interact with anything else because it's really
Yeah.
specifically targeted.
Only the protein connector that it should. It just,
Right.
yeah. I
Right.
gotcha. I gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. Were you a part of any interesting thing that we would know about as far as drugs you were part of creating or experimenting with?
So drug development is a really slow process.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely, extremely slow. The compound that I worked on um, is supposed to go into a phase 3 clinical trial.
Oh,
So that means
okay.
like we gave it to the first people, and healthy people like you or I, that would volunteer and say, "I'll take this and see if there are crazy side effects."
Right.
And that was fine. Then you give it in a phase 2 where you take like 15 people with your disease, and basically it's all just safety stuff. Phase 3 is when you try and see, does this thing work? Uh, and the compound that I worked on is still in phase 3.
Okay.
So even this much later, it's
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
still this, yeah.
I know, I know standard it's supposed to go for a while. You've got all the different trials, you have to
Mhm.
have it peer reviewed, you've got to go through the
Right.
full process and everything. And
Right.
so that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's she's smart, guys. That's what we're learning here. She's smart, okay? That's what you need to pull from this. But what we really what y'all always know I'm trying to figure out why people are where they are and what they're doing and kind of just how they got there. And so I think we're kind of seeing now the results in her videos. Now, are you still doing that job now? Is that kind of your normie job, or what are you doing now?
No, what I'm doing now is actually working. It's different. It's immune system stuff. It's trying to prevent childhood food allergies.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a food allergy. I developed it as an adult, so everything I'm trying to do in my day job wouldn't help me.
Yeah.
But but trying to prevent the peanut allergy epidemic.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know that's a big one. I know that's a. Does your does your job involve CRISPR in any way? I'm always interested in that program.
It does not. It does
Okay.
not. But I did get to work with it a bit when I was
Oh,
back in
awesome.
grad school. It's
That is
a
awesome.
it's cool. It's expensive.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Working in that at that level and understanding the proteins and how they interact and everything at that level has just always intrigued me. How especially when you're dealing with people with multiple genes and multiple types to
Right.
really try to find those finest little points to get done what you want to get done. So
Yeah.
that is cool. That is cool. So that's your day job. That's pretty
Mhm.
cool. And so now your night job is social media, filament extrusion. Uh, what do all your hobbies encompass at this point?
So, I joke because I was really interested in autism and neurocognitive stuff, and then like after I'd kind of gotten into that a bit on a research side, I was diagnosed.
Oh, wow.
So, I have ADHD, and as most people with ADHD, I have 1,000 hobbies all the time. But I like trying new things. I really do, and so that's. I've got the 3D printing that I've stuck with, and I've done the candles and that kind of thing. But all my hobbies, and then I always try and form them into one super hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Super hobby.
to
That's a good way
yeah,
to explain it.
I want all my hobbies to connect into each other, and so I've been doing it and figuring out which of my hobbies can coordinate into my 3D printing the best.
Right. And I think because I know that exact feeling. We're all like, we have all those things we do, and we're like, what's the one project that will utilize everything I do?
Yes,
Everything.
exactly.
I think there's a lot of
Exactly.
people. Raise your hand in this room if that's something you can relate to, guys. If you're trying to find that ultimate project that encompasses everything you do. I
Yeah.
know that's me. That's me. What's up, Alien? How are you doing? Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being a part. Keep sharing this out. Keep doing the likes and taps and all the things that you're supposed to do to help get this out, please. We want to share this with more people. We want to get more people in here. I'm excited about the number of people who are here tonight. Just talking with us with Erika Prince. If you don't know Erika, she is a big fancy crazy person over on TikTok. She's very popular over there. People love her. If you don't follow her, you should follow her right now. Get over there, Erika Prince. That's not Prince like Prince. That's Prince like Prints. All right, all right. Just wanted to let y'all know that that's important. But we're gonna get into some of the other stuff. I promise you. So get your questions ready. Put them in the room. Put them in the room so that I know what you want to ask as we move into some of the filament stuff, some of the other things that she's doing. I just really wanted to get to know her a lot better and really just kind of understand why she is where she is. I think that's really, really important. What's up, Filament Stories? How are you doing? Crazy people are the fancy crazy people are the best. I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. Hey, Nate wants to know what your favorite ice cream is.
Like the mocha chocolate chip ones.
Mocha chocolate
Those ones,
chip. Okay.
yes, because
Are you happy with
I
that,
I
Nate?
like coffee. Coffee
Awesome.
and chocolate.
Spicoli's asking, can I send scraps to turn to filament?
Yes. So I can recycle PETG and PLA as long as they're separated. We
Yes.
can't do those all in one box. And so anybody who wants to send something can just send me a DM and I'll tell you where to send it.
There you go. There you go. And we'll talk about that again. So if you forget, we'll talk about it some more because we are going to, there's a few questions in the videos from the videos that I've seen and everything that I really, really, really want to talk about. The first one, and I don't know if y'all have ever seen her first video or even if you kind of peer in different places early on through some of her videos, you're going to see elephants. And, you know, there we go. See, look at that. She has one right there. It's like a Voronoi or whatever, however you pronounce that word.
I was gonna wait for you to say it.
The elephant. See, she's reading.
Yeah.
She's reading the script I gave her. Like she reads what I'm going to try and talk to her about down the road. So she's prepared. So what's up with elephants?
I really, really like them. My mom loves elephants, and I think it might be genetic, I inherited that.
Okay.
Um, that's always been, she's always loved elephants. And then being here in Houston, the Houston Zoo has Asian elephants and has a pretty prolific breeding program.
Okay.
So there's always baby elephants. If you've not seen Kirby, Kirby is kind of TikTok famous because
Okay.
Kirby has not forgotten her past lives. Um,
Okay. We're writing Kirby down. I will be there
yes,
sometime soon.
yes,
Kirby the
look up
elephant.
Kirby the elephant at the Houston Zoo. She was born in early January. No, she was born in November, so she's a couple months old now.
Okay.
And what I got to see her at like 12 days old, and yeah, her eyes are. She's pretty funny.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Anybody in Texas? Y'all seen Kirby? Do y'all know Kirby? Do y'all know the elephants over there? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. I'm always asking y'all to raise your hand so I can see if y'all are paying attention. That's important. So like when it comes to elephants, are we just talking about you like statues of elephants? Are you interested like in elephants in general, their memory, their
Oh yeah,
all sorts of
yeah.
aspects? What kind
I
of
could info dump some elephant stories on you.
Okay, come on. We're here.
Did you know that elephants have signs of religion? Did you
No.
define it like anthropologically? Elephants practice religion. They recognize and memorialize deaths. They recognize like dates of importance and will
Oh,
have
wow.
ceremonial that they repeat year after year after year. They pilgrimage for these things that are significant to them, but not necessarily not a survival. This isn't, salmon swimming upstream. It's they're going because their grandma died in this location, and they go to this location every year on around the anniversary of her death.
Oh,
Really
wow.
cool stuff.
That's
Elephants are super cool.
that's cool. I knew like the funeral kind of idea of the elephants. I've
Yeah.
heard of some of that. I didn't realize they memorialized it year after
Mhm.
year. Now, is that
Yeah.
something that continues through just that generation, or does that continue? Do they learn from each other and it continues through every generation?
So it can continue long enough that then, like, that's kind of the marker is that there are elephants that never knew grandma,
Right.
who are now doing these pilgrimages and are still leading them and still taking because it's now culturally significant to that troop.
Okay. Okay. That is pretty cool. That is
So
pretty
cool.
cool.
Elephants are awesome.
Yeah. No, I did not realize that. Give us one more fact. Give us one more fact.
Elephants have started to realize that people can help them and have started to use human equipment in some ways. So there's a story of an elephant that went out and broke an ecological monitoring station camera because there were poachers in the area, and she knew that if she broke that, it would send a team of researchers out to come fix that camera, who then caught the poachers. And so it was like her sending up a bat signal
That's pretty
for
cool.
people to come get rid of these jerks.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That's animals are so much smarter sometimes than we give them credit for.
Oh yeah,
I always think that's crazy. Now, in with your love of elephants, and I know that with the stuff you're doing in the biomedical field and everything, has there been ever been any time you've used kind of your knowledge of elephants or had to explore elephantology or whatever we're going to call it to help you in some way?
Not really,
Okay.
unfortunately. It's something I've always been really interested in.
Okay.
So like in college, I took some animal behavior classes, just because I wanted to. But no, I mean it's pretty different.
Okay. Okay.
I wish though. I'd love to go work with elephants.
Well, they always talk about memory, and I guess based on what you're saying, I can really see kind of where that idea of an elephant never forgets kind of
Yeah,
idea comes from. So that's pretty cool. I know I read a lot of books about elephants when I was a little kid, but they were more fiction versus
yeah, yeah.
nonfiction. But that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Guys, did y'all learn anything about elephants you didn't know? I know I did. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Come on. I need to see some hands. I feel like y'all are talking and not listening to us. Come on.
We're having a conversation and
They're
they're
still
having
talking about
one.
driving in Texas. And jellyfish, I heard about researching jellyfish for neurology. Okay.
Yeah, jellyfish have really weird nervous systems,
Hmm.
and so you can, and they don't have that many neurons. So there's a whole thing in neurology of like you find these animal systems where they have very limited numbers of neurons, and so then there's very limited connections. So when you're talking about people and how complex it is and finding that target, you start in a system like a jellyfish,
Okay.
where the change you're making has there's only so many things that can come from it, and so you can measure absolutely everything that happens as a result of
Huh.
whatever you've done.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
never worked with jellyfish. I did get stung by them, but I never worked with them.
Yeah. Oh, I've been stung by them as well. Yes.
Horrible.
No fun. No fun. Well, that is awesome. That is really awesome. We're going to take a break really quick, guys. I'm going to let you step back and drink some more or go get some water or whatever you need to do. And I'm going to talk to these guys for a little bit. But we'll be back with you in just a moment. But, guys, thank y'all so much for being here. Keep sharing this out. We probably got about 30 more minutes. We're going to go through. I have a lot more questions. We're really going to start digging into kind of the 3D printing aspects and some of the stuff she's doing with the extrusion line. And we'll get into more of the how you get stuff to her if you want to be a part of that. So we're definitely going to dig really, really, really deep down into that. If y'all want her to take the nerd test, please let me know. I feel like we've already figured out she's a nerd. So I don't know that we need to do that. We might just ask one question. But before we move on, I just wanted to kind of remind y'all of a few things and just, talk about the value for the show. I always talk about that. I always want y'all to know that I hope that I add value. And part of me adding value is finding out the things you want to learn, the people you want to talk to, the things you want to know. So let me know. And the easiest way to let me know about things is to jump over to the Discord and become a part of that community over there. We have a room for the live. We have a lot of discussion rooms, and I'm always asking for just input and information about this. That's where the debate night came from. That's where project night came from. There's a lot of different things that the community has really added to the show that's really exciting. So that's that time, talent, treasure that I always talk about. The time coming here, chatting, being a part of this, being a part of the Discord community, being a part of everything that's going on with Asylum Life. And I appreciate y'all for doing that. The talent, the time, the talent. If you graphic design, I've got guys who are helping design thumbnails and helping design images and helping design some of the things that we're doing here on the show, that are helping with some projects and things within the Discord. If you have a talent within electronics or knitting or other areas, we're always looking for people to become a part of the community that can teach, that can help us to grow and just to learn more about the makerspace and the things that we want to do. Discord is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I've really enjoyed getting to know get to know everybody that is in the Discord. We have some fun conversations. Come over and look at Granny Susie's photography. It is really awesome. We've got Jazzy over there throwing knitting in the room, so that's a really good one. Now the last one, time, talent, and treasure. I don't want to belabor the treasure, but those are the sustaining donators. Those are the people who subscribe or who message with me and do some things to help support this program, to help us get a new computer that we have for streaming. I hope y'all noticed that the stream is much better over the past couple of months because we've been able to get some new stuff for that. There's lots and lots of ways to participate in that. So if you're on a platform that allows for that, join it there. If you have questions, DM me, get in the Discord. If you want to support the community, if you don't have the time to do anything and you want to support it that way, just let me know, guys. It's not expected because I hope I give you value so that you want to give value back. That's the really important thing to me, is that we work together to create what is happening here. And that is very important. Now, one of the things I like to do periodically is I like to mention the people who are supporting us, the people who are spending the time, who are doing things for the show. So I always like to kind of jump into the credits. And the first one, we're going to talk about the sustaining donations. With the sustaining donations, and that does not seem to be coming up. There we go. The sustaining donations. These are the people right now who on a monthly basis are giving to the show. And this is Nate Print Shop, Kilobytes Workshop, 3D Print Like Me, Dragon Girl Designs, CS Wilson Prints, and Crappy Bot. I want to thank y'all so much for being part of the sustaining donations. Then we have the gifters. The gifters in the last 7 days, these are the biggest gifters that have given to the show. So that's Dragon Girl Designs Company, Dud V2, Bill Eskildson, Clove 3D Prints. We got Eskildson. We got another Eskildson. They just want me to say that a lot. Upland Man X6. Try Not to Break Anything. Nate's Print Shop. Heskett 85 and Feral 3D Printing. Thank you all so much for just the gifts and being a part of the show on a regular basis. And then our watchers. These are the people who've watched the most. They've been around, they've been sitting in the lives, and they have been watching. So Clove 3D Prints, Brady Meets World, Springled 23, Makers M. Sean, Jordy and Kelly, Marvel 3D UK, Redneck Forge, Timothy Markham 1, SD Soul, 5D Soul Flow, and Mr. Wizard Creative. Just thank y'all so much for supporting the program with that time, talent, and treasure. I really do appreciate that. So thank you. Love these lives. Thank you, Clove. We as a group, you were part of this, and we make the show. We try to find the best people to talk to on Thursday nights, and we try to do the coolest shows on Tuesdays. If you ever want to be a part of it or help out, hit me up on the Discord. Definitely glad to get the input, glad to get the help, and we'll just make this grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So guys, we're going to jump back in. Let me make sure I hit all of the announcements. Yep, I did. We're going to hit some more at the end of the show. So let's get back over to Erika Prince. Erika, you back? All
I
right, there we
am.
are.
Yes.
Woohoo! So
Hello.
there's something new in pink on the desk.
Oh yeah, that's my water cup.
Okay, okay. I'm like, that's a
Manly.
big pink thing. What is that?
It is. It is. It has my name on it. My
Okay,
coworker. It'll focus. My coworker got it for me for Christmas.
okay.
It
Hold it
has
up
a bunch of
again.
science
Let's
jokes.
see if we can get that. There we go.
Eh,
Okay, that's cool.
so, like, did you hear oxygen went on a date with potassium? It went
No.
okay.
All
Covered in wonderful wonderful
right.
science jokes.
No nerd test for her, guys. She solidly sat right in the corner. We're done. We're done.
No, no,
I
that's
I think the only other
such an
question
imperfect me.
we would have to ask is her to finish that phrase. If y'all know the phrase, I'm I don't even know the phrase. It's not in my head right now. Um,
Well, you have to start the phrase, otherwise I
I
can't.
know.
You
Well, that's
know.
what I was trying to start it, and it won't. It won't. Oh, settlers of. What's the
Catan.
last word? Settlers
Catan.
of. Huh?
Catan.
Okay. There we go.
Catan.
So there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Done. It's
That was
official.
a very
It's
easy.
official. Yeah.
Well, I guess I will accept that
What is
title.
the what's the airspeed and velocity of an unladen swallow?
All right, no, I don't know that one.
Okay. All right.
I don't get that reference.
You should watch Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail.
Okay, I have watched that, but I
Okay.
did miss the
And
reference.
your reply is supposed to be African or European. So that's
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
I missed the
that's pretty
reference.
important. Let's see, what do we got? Ask her about the pet G fort. Yep, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. That's one of the things I definitely want to talk to her about because she has a lot of filament boxes. I like the throne best. The throne was my favorite. Um,
Yes,
and
that's
so we'll
my.
definitely get into that. Now, how did you come to the point of buying an extrusion line? How,
So I have a lot of friends and some family even that 3D print, and so we were just creating an abundance of like I've started calling it filament waste, but the failed prints, the
yeah,
support, all of those things, prototypes. I've made the joke a couple of times that don't measure, just print it a few times and figure it out. And
yeah, I
while
saw
I
that.
stand by that strategy, it does create a couple of prototypes sometimes.
Hmm.
And the idea of throwing all of that away felt really gross. It was like there has to be somebody who's been doing this and is going to take this stuff and recycle it. There has to be
Yeah.
something. And I looked, and it was just there really weren't any good options. And at some point, I guess you just decide that you're gonna just do the thing that you think really needs
Yeah.
done.
Well,
And
most
so
people
that's
decide to heat it up in an oven and form it into something else. They don't
right.
think, "Oh, hey, let's buy this $1,000 plus machine and make some new stuff out of it."
It might be the ADHD. But I'm actually not a knick-knack person, which
Hmm.
is funny because I 3D print. But like when I 3D print something, something knick-knacky, it's because I have a spot for it and I've been thinking about it and it's very planned out. I don't really, I don't really just print things and set them places.
Right.
Uh, and so that was to me the molds. I was like, okay, so if I heat these up and turn it into a mold, then what do I do with the mold? And so that was where, I ended up
I gotcha.
not, I didn't really want to go that direction. Although I do really like seeing other people's molds that they make on TikTok.
Okay.
That's very fun for me.
Yeah. Well, and you also went like all the way. Like a lot of
Oh yeah.
extrusion lines you buy, you just get the extruder portion of it and you get the winder. You've
Yeah.
got the water bath, you've got the whole line.
Yeah.
So what machine do you have? Let's start right there first.
So I have the extrusion line is a Jugatech.
Okay.
So that's the spelling of that I could put in a chat. But it's a Jugatech.
Okay.
And then the shredder is a Lesson Tour. Um, and yeah, there are a lot smaller options out there, Philistruder, those kinds of things that do. Uh, but I have done enough hobbies in the past where I was like, I'm gonna step into this. I'm gonna buy an option and see if I like it and see if I can figure it out. And then I do like it, and I'm then working with equipment that isn't quite able to give the results that you want to get.
All right.
And so then you have to buy the new equipment
Mm-hmm.
anyways. and you've spent all of this time trying to figure it out on equipment that maybe isn't. I mean, sometimes a smaller piece of equipment just doesn't work as well,
Right.
right? Like it's
Right.
just not. It's and so you're figuring things out that you might not have had to figure out if you just uh, gone big in the first place.
Yeah. So you'd
And
probably rather
so,
overbuy than underbuy is kind of what you're saying. So,
yes, for
okay.
better or for worse.
Okay. Okay. So, so yeah, so an extrusion line is a long way from a first 3D printer. When did you get your first 3D printer?
A year ago, I've been printing for a
What?
year. Yeah, that was it.
A
Was I wanted
year?
to do it?
You
I
went
waited
from
until I was.
what was your first printer?
I had an Elegoo for my first one. I did
Elegoo, which
a
one?
Neptune 4
Okay. Okay.
Max. Yeah.
So you went from an
And
Elegoo Neptune to a full extruder line in a year.
I did. So what am I going to be doing next year?
Guys, you guys in the room, I just want to let y'all know, y'all are underachievers. I am too. Such an underachiever here. Wow, that is crazy. That is crazy. So, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
No,
but I
you're
know
good.
you were
You're
about to
good.
say something. That's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like to do new things, like to learn new things, and the extrusion line has definitely been been a learning experience. It's been just a plethora of opportunities to figure out how I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah. No, that is really cool. What are you finding the hardest part of it is?
Consistency. So I guess actually there's kind of two components here. I started out with PETG, recycling that because I print almost exclusively in PETG,
Okay.
and so that was all the waste I had. That was where that's just I kind of gravitate to PETG first. And if you read online and if you go look at some like the actual research papers on this, PETG is supposed to be harder to extrude.
Yeah.
Uh, but and then the other part of that was it's part of recycling. You have to have some new plastic. You can't use 100% just recycled.
Hmm.
And the new PETG came in about 2 months before the recycled or
Okay.
the new PLA. So I was like, well, there you go.
Okay.
Um, and the hardest part there was getting consistency with it, and finally figured out a couple of tricks to that. I haven't posted the video on it yet because I'm a little bit behind in my video editing. Um, but in double shredding. So shred it all down, dry it all out, put it through the extrusion line, and then just take it straight back to the shredder and shred it through again.
Okay.
Um, and gives you more consistent pieces. And then I get less variation in what's going through the extruder.
Right.
And so,
And you're not talking variation in color right now. Right now, you're
right.
talking about variation of material specifically.
Yeah, diameter.
Okay.
Diameter of the filament, and exactly how large the diameter is. We were
Okay.
getting these crazy fluctuations. I kept thinking my calipers were wrong. Like,
Yep.
no, it's the children that are wrong.
It's
But they were
tough.
not wrong, unfortunately. But so we did get a way more consistent with it
Okay.
once we started the double shred.
Right.
Uh,
Now,
but then, most people print PLA. So, and I got way more scrap from PLA, way more people expecting PLA back from me. So, made the transition to PLA. And I actually think PLA has been harder to extrude.
okay. Okay.
It's been tricky. It's been tricky to get it seems like the temperature of between absolute liquid puddle of something that was once plastic and
Yeah,
so brittle that you can't wind it is a lot smaller for PLA
I would
than
agree.
it was for PETG.
That even goes for printing. The
Yep.
that few degrees, and you always forget. I know I've always been now. You've been working in labs and things, so Celsius
Yeah.
is probably just a very very familiar thing to you. But I'm a Fahrenheit guy, always have been, and I'm too old. I'm not learning the metric system. Leave me alone. Um, but I always forget 2 degrees of Fahrenheit of Celsius is a lot.
Yes,
It's a
it
lot,
really is. It
and
really, really is. And I've been trying to do PLA more in this freeze that we've been in
mhm,
because, snow day.
yep, mhm,
Um, but I do I wondered too if that's part of it is that it's so cold
could be.
compared to when we were doing PETG a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. So now, did you start printing with PETG?
Yes.
Okay, you're just like me. I started printing
Yeah.
PETG too. Why
Yeah, I
did
think
you
I
choose
bought like
PETG
one
first?
roll of PLA
Uh
and I think it's still sitting here.
huh. You have the first roll of PLA you ever bought. It's still sitting there.
and I've not used it.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting,
That was
guys. I don't know how to
yeah.
feel about that. I feel like, I don't know, that hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I pretty quickly switched over to PETG, and was
Why?
having um I was having better success with it.
Okay.
And then I wanted to be able to print things that go outside. I'm outside a lot. And I do a lot. I've got a pool in my backyard that I like to spend all of my time in when
I
I
gotcha.
can.
Okay.
And so there were a lot of things I was like, well, if I could print something that wouldn't shatter outside, I could do this. And so I pretty quickly was like, I need PETG to be able to print the things I want to print.
Right, right. And that's kind of how I was. I started with PETG. I didn't know better. And I was just like, oh, PETG. Oh, it's supposed to be food safe. Oh, it goes outside. Oh, it's, I quickly learned the food safe thing was kind of, but the
Yeah.
going outside stuff, I was like, okay, okay, okay. And I printed in that forever before I
Yeah.
printed in PLA. So I get it.
Well, then I wanted to do PLA to do some mini figs because there's some more color options and stuff. And I had it took me forever to be able to print PLA
Right.
after I'd gotten so used to PETG.
Right. I gotcha. I gotcha. That's cool. Hey, I'm gonna stop. Hey, Maker M, thank you for joining the Discord. I appreciate that. I wanted to say thank you real quick. Guys, we are here interviewing Erika Prince. If you don't know her, if you don't follow her, you should get over on TikTok and follow her. Now you're not just on TikTok though. Where are your other socials?
I'm also on Instagram,
Okay.
and I'm technically on Discord. I'll have to join. I'm not on Discord all that much, but I am going to join the Discord after this.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Discord's one of those. I like it because I can really get into a community over there, but I understand people who
Mhm.
resist. It's it's so easy to join so many rooms and then get all these lines of rooms and stuff that you join, and then every 3 months you have to cull out the rooms and decide what you don't want
I
to be a
use it
part
for
of.
gaming. Like I've,
Oh,
I've got a group of friends that I game with that are now we're all over the country, and so
okay.
we use the Discord for like voice chat
What do
and
you
stuff to
play?
game.
What do you play?
Right now I've been really into Eco.
Okay.
You know that one?
Mm-mm. I'm not
It's
a
kind of
gamer,
a
but I'm always
oh
interested.
okay. Yeah, it's like a survival-ish. Like there's you can't nothing can kill you, but the whole thing is you've been dropped on a world with nothing, and you have 30 days before an asteroid's going to hit the world and
Okay.
blow it up, and
Wow.
so you've got to go from like hitting it with a stone axe to building a giant space laser to blow an asteroid out of the
Okay.
sky in 30 days. And it runs for 30 days.
Okay. That's interesting. I do if I play games, I've been in a group of guys who play Fortnite, and so I've picked that up a
Yeah.
little bit. I used to be a big Unreal Tournament guy. Like I played that endlessly,
Okay.
and I did WoW, but that was many, many,
Yeah.
many years ago. But I've gotten into Satisfactory a little
Yes.
bit, which has been kind of fun. But I do it more for the architecture and building stuff and relaxing than I do for the actual game.
I do not play Satisfactory, but I have friends that do. And then Let's Game It Out. If you ever watch,
Okay. Yeah.
he plays Satisfactory on YouTube,
Yeah.
and you can. Those are fun.
Yep. Yep. Let's see. Facing Worlds. We got 50 Discord channels. I know how you feel, Spicoli. Uh, gotta check out Circle. What's Circle? I don't know Circle. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, keep putting your questions in the room, guys. We're gonna keep going. We're getting back over to the extrusion line. I found a tangent. I wanted to chase that rabbit down. I thought that was pretty important. Well, that's cool. So are you finding? So you're getting more PLA as far
Hmm.
as your recycled material that you get from people.
Hmm.
You print a lot more PETG.
Yes.
Now, so right now is the first time that you're trying to do PLA during this cold spot that you have here, or
First time trying to extrude it.
okay,
Yeah, I've been shredding it down as people have sent it to me. But then it's a whole process to switch the line between PETG and PLA. So I was waiting until I was, pretty happy with where my PETG was at, and now I'm gonna switch over to that PLA. I promise people, there'll be filament returned to them for
right,
having some cool stuff, and most of what people have sent me is PLA. So I feel
okay,
like I have
yeah,
to turn attention over and try and get that one figured out now.
yeah. That shredder. The shredder
Come on, man.
alone, and you don't have to tell me the exact price if you don't want to. What was the ballpark on that shredder? Oh my
It was
gosh.
about 1,700.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because I've been looking at
I
shredders. I
know.
just want one to chop it up and do some stuff with. I'm one of the
Mhm.
guys that wants to melt it down. I don't want to extrude
Yeah.
anything. But
I would
shredders
say
are
this one's probably overkill for
no,
that.
but it does such a good job. It
Oh,
really
it does, and
does.
it's so easy. There's no you don't have to cut it up ahead of time. I saw a lot
Yeah.
of people talking about some of the other shredders. You have to really break down your prints. I have thrown in some absolutely massive prints that failed at some point,
Yeah.
and it shreds no problem.
Well,
I
and
did
that's
have one person say they were gonna send me. They broke it. They melted down into a mold, and so then it's just solid,
oh no,
solid, and they were gonna send it to me and see if it'll shred. But
that's awesome.
um, shipping costs.
Yeah. Well, I saw the video where you had thrown something big in there and it was bouncing around in the machine
Mhm.
and it was slowly being chewed up. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great machine that you have there for that. That's my favorite part. I could just sit there and
Oh,
watch it
I do
shred all
too.
day.
I like watching it shred, and I like watching from underneath when you watch it all just fall out, and it's like it's snowing. That's the only kind of snow I like.
Okay. I love normal snow. I love you have a 5 gallon bucket of bamboo poop. I understand, buddy. I know somebody who has several 55-gallon drums of bamboo poop. I don't know that they'll
Oh
be
my gosh.
shipping those anytime soon, but she'll take your bamboo poop. I'm looking
I
for
will.
some bamboo poop. I have a project I'm working on, so DM either one of us, and we'll give you places to send it. Just
Yes.
let us know where you want to send it, and yeah, I have a fun project I want to do, but I don't print multicolor. I do a lot of prototyping, and so it's solid colors
Yeah.
and a lot of resin printing, that kind of stuff. And so I don't do a lot of multicolor. I did it for Christmas. I did it for Christmas. Did
Yeah.
you? And this always kind of tells me how deep into 3D printing somebody is. You're pretty deep, but when it comes to the printing side, did you give any 3D printed Christmas gifts this year?
I did a few. So I have, for my older sister, I have four nieces and nephews, and they're all very, very into sports. And so I got the logos for the sports teams that they play
Okay.
on from their dad and converted them into STLs and multicolored and put their names on them and printed them these big wall signs
Okay.
with their traveling team's logo and their name on it. So I did those for my nieces and nephews. Um, for my brother-in-law, I made actually have one. I have my Jayhawk sign that I printed for myself.
Yeah.
And I did him one from the Green Bay Packers because he's a
Okay.
big Green Bay fan. So put the LED lights in it and everything. What
That's
else did I
cool.
do? I printed my mother-in-law some Christmas ornaments. I posted a video of them. They were like the snowman, but I called it Bootylicious Snowman.
Yep.
They were good. They were good. They were a crowd favorite for
Uh,
sure.
That's cool. Clove is saying everyone got 3D gifts. I'm the same way, Clove. I did a lot of the Forge Core. If you don't know Forge Core as a designer, he does a lot of plant type stuff. And so like my
Hmm.
dad got the cactus, toothpick cactus, and my mom
Yeah.
got the little succulent pin stuff, stick
Hmm.
pins, and so I did a lot of that as well. So that's cool. That is cool. So you say you think you're having more success with PETG on your extrusion line?
Yeah, but that might be honestly. There's a bit of a bias because I'm like, what is it? Today Thursday, three
Mhm.
days in to doing PLA. So sometimes it's just those early stages. There's just such a steep learning
I
curve.
gotcha. No, that
I've
makes
had a couple
sense.
of people ask of, "Oh, I want to extrude for my own. I don't want to deal with taking other people's recycle or I just want to recycle my own." And I've said, "Well, then don't get my line. My line is is not a good one if you just want to recycle what you're producing."
Right, right. Um, okay. Have you printed with any of the Pet G that you've gotten out of it?
Yes. Here, let me
Oh,
grab them behind me.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't have them on the desk. So I've done a couple of prints. What I haven't here in the room is I have a Benchy that I made. That was my very first print with it.
Okay.
And like really very first attempt at printing, I got this Benchy. So I was pretty excited. I really thought first roll, first attempt, it was gonna be a blob on the plate.
Right.
And then I was able to do one of these little vases. These are kind of the test print that I do with all of my new filament.
Okay.
Um, and was able to do that because I feel like a vase mode print is pretty good for establishing filament quality.
I think so.
I don't see a lot of people talk about that, but that's just always been my take is like you see a lot of defects in your filament when you go into a vase mode.
Right.
Um,
I would
and
agree
then
with
I've
that.
printed a couple of other things, but like some accessories for some of my hobbies, you know.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. So give me a second. Your video quality has dropped quite a bit.
Oh
I'm gonna try
no.
and see. It's okay. I don't know if it's me or if it's you. So I was gonna see if I could do
Let me
anything with
see.
it real quick. Um,
Let me
my
see if I can
Starlink bandwidth can get a little wonky sometimes, but we were doing good there for a while. I tried to adjust a couple of things. We'll see if it gets a little bit better. Let's see. Anybody? Any more questions in the peanut gallery? Get those questions in. Get those questions in. Um, so what is your ultimate goal with this? I know recycling. Are you wanting to get more extrusion lines eventually? Are you going to stick with this one and try to just recycle people's stuff? What is kind of the where you're heading?
Yeah, I think this line is big enough that I should really be fine with this line. I don't anticipate needing a bigger line or a second line or anything like that. I also don't know where I'd put it if I wanted it. I'd have to buy a new house.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm anticipating sticking with this line. I would like to get the recycled, you know, kind of get into a flow of it. Of
Right.
that, it's up, it's available, you can buy it, use it. I envision it being a more of a prototyping filament because there's a limited amount that you can do with the color. That
Right.
dark gray color is the color of when you recycle it.
Gotcha.
And so that is just kind of the color. So I can use some colorant to maybe make a navy or a maroon or a black, but you're not gonna get yellow
Right.
recycled filament.
Yeah.
At least not off my line, not the way I'm doing it.
Not the
Uh,
way you're doing it. Okay.
yeah. And so I picture it being good for things like um, some of the things I've made it for are just the color doesn't really matter. And so that's where I envision people being able to use a recycled filament that they're not creating even more waste, right? If
Right.
they're able to use something like that. And then also if they're sending me filament that then I'm able to give credit back so that they can get the recycled filament cheap.
Right.
Or
Okay. No, that makes sense. I get that. I get that. I was just trying to think through some of the things. Now, you said earlier that you had to buy some other pellets, and I assume just
Mhm.
standard PETG resin pellets that you would dump
Yeah.
in there. What are you finding as far as your ratios of recycled to new pellets?
Yeah, so I was hoping to get closer to like 80% recycled, 20% new pellet. Um, but I've found better stability at a little bit lower ratio, 50%, like making it a half and half recycled to new.
Hmm.
Um, at this point, I think that still might be something I can get better at. That might be a skill issue, you know,
Right.
as I keep working with this and keep running the line, that I could get closer to that 80%
I gotcha.
line.
I gotcha. Are you finding after you, because I know sometimes, or most of the time, when you melt plastic once, you're kind of annealing it and you're raising
Yeah.
that temperature. And I know part of that's why partially you put the new pellets
Right.
in there. Are you finding that you can bring it with that 50%? You're bringing it back down to that temperature that it needs to operate at? Is it a little bit higher, a little lower? What?
No, I'm printing when I'm then printing with that 50% recycled, I'm using my standard PETG settings. I'm same build plate temp, same temp. I do print with a hardened steel nozzle,
Hmm.
but that's more because if I don't, I'll print carbon fiber or glow in the dark and forget, and I will shred my nozzles.
Oh,
Uh, so I just have switched
yeah.
entirely to
Yeah.
hardened steel. But so I have been printing all of my recycled with hardened steel. But other than that, I've been using standard print settings
Okay.
and not really having any additional issues with weird warping or weird temperature effects, layer shifts, any of those things you can sometimes see with older filament that's maybe done a few too many cycles in the dryer.
Okay. Okay. Are you looking at getting any of the master batch stuff? Have you looked into any of that?
Yeah, I have red, blue, and black
Okay.
for PETG, and I have black for PLA.
Okay.
So I haven't actually used it, to be fair.
Yeah.
But my intent is to use it, and again, it's we're not going to be getting yellow off of this
Right.
line,
Of
but yeah,
course. Of
maybe
course.
maybe a navy, maybe a dark red
Yeah.
would be cool to be able to get some different options.
Yeah, and I'm sure the closer you get to that 80% recycle, that's even going to kind of knock down the amount of color that you can create and everything, since you're not really
Right.
separating out the colors. And
Yeah,
so,
because it does get a little bit darker than this is a 50%, and it does get a little bit darker than this still at that 80%. Not
okay.
too much.
Okay.
It's not a huge difference actually at that 80%.
Right.
But it is a little darker still even.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. Guys, keep those questions coming. Woo, we got what is that? A puma claw or something? I don't know what
Oh,
that
nice.
was. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That's awesome. Guys, we got just a few more minutes for you to get your questions in before we start working into wrapping this up. I don't want to keep her too late. I'm sure she would be cordial and hang around, but I definitely want to, we all have bedtimes. We have things we got to do, people. We got things we got to do. Um, okay. So let's go back to some of the other videos. We've talked about the recycling. We mentioned earlier the throne and the tent, and
Yes.
you like when you started, and that's one of the things that shocked me about you've been doing this a year. Like
Hmm.
your first filament order that I saw was like you were getting ready to open a store.
So yeah, when I had bought Filament prior to that. Obviously, I'd been using off of Amazon, testing out some brands. Um, but despite the fact that I spent all that money on the shredder, I am grossly cheap. And that filament on Amazon is so expensive. And so I had looked online and found if you go direct to some of those distributors, you can get such a better price for it.
Yes, very
Uh,
much so.
so what I didn't ever show on my TikToks is my first actual order from them was like 10 rolls testing to see what if this was actually filament I could use. And then when I determined I did like the filament, I wanted more of it. Yeah, then I put in that order of I think the first order was like 110 or
Yeah,
something like
110 rolls, I think is what you said. And
that.
guys, if you haven't
Hmm.
seen those videos, you need to go back,
Yes.
watch them. It's like about a week. Well, it was probably more than that. It was broken up. It was over a couple of weeks of just her bringing the filament inside, her stacking it up. She made this really cool throne. She's sitting back
did
and she made a,
did the Parks and Rec
yep,
homage to Game of Thrones,
yeah.
that.
Oh, Parks and Rec. That's a good question, guys. Here's a question. Who do y'all think she looks like? She looks like Britt from not Parks and Rec, from Community to me. Who do y'all think she looks like? She kind of has a couple of different actresses she could look like. What do y'all think? We need some names in the room. Put those names down. And nothing silly. Be serious, because I know y'all aren't serious. But I want
Never.
to see what y'all think. I think Britt's from Community is a good one. Um, okay, we got an agreement on the Brit. Um, steps up to the printer. Yes. Talking
Oh
about
my
your
gosh,
boxes and everything.
yeah.
So,
When I built the table behind with the idea being like how much filament can I store because I've bought a lot of filament. And then I didn't really think about how high that would put the AMS. So
mm,
that's kind of where the steps came from. Is I kept dragging the chair to get up to change filament in the AMS, and
yeah.
so
Well,
had to. It was an
how
alternative.
many printers do you own now?
I only have the three.
Okay. And that's I see
I'm
the
limited it.
X1 behind you. I assume
That's a P1S.
oh, that's the P1. Oh, okay. Sorry.
A
P1S.
P1S. And then the mini is over there with a nozzle that I forgot was not hardened steel, and so it's waiting on some new components.
Okay.
And then I've got my Elegoo
The
sitting
Neptune.
kind of abandoned and forgotten on a table over here.
Oh, poor
I
thing.
know,
Poor
I know, it's
thing.
neglected. It really is.
You should print
But
with
they
it.
break.
I'm
They
a
break
big
all the
fan of
time.
those printers. I have a A1.
Hmm.
But that's about as far as I've gone into that ecosystem. Everything else I have is kind of a standard one color printer,
Yeah.
and or
Well, I
resin.
wanted the multicolor. I wanted the multicolor really badly,
I get that.
and that was really why I got it. And then when I got it, and I was like, I know people say this all the time, but bamboo makes it so easy to
They do.
print things, and that's kind of fun.
They do. They definitely do. They definitely do. Well, guys, I was about to close up the questioning here. Gonna close up the questioning. I've got a few more I'm gonna go through, so hurry it up, hurry it up. Um, so candles. Now,
Mm,
guys, she does a lot of different stuff. So let me back up just a minute. First off, the most important thing I think to mention is her store, the TikTok
mhm.
shop that she runs. Tell us about the TikTok shop. What types of things do you have in it? Give us kind of an idea of what you're doing there.
Yeah, so on the shop, I do have filament because by my second order, bulk order, I ordered enough that I was thinking I can put some up on the shop, and so I've now got filament on the shop, and then I also have some of my own 3D printed things. Mostly just stuff I like to make. I do some holiday decoration coasters, that kind of thing. But then I do the candles.
Okay.
I've done candles for many years now. And then I started thinking, I bet I could print jars instead of buying glass jars, and I could
Right.
do some really cool things. And that's how I got into designing molds to pour candles into.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. Now,
Which is
have you
kind
ever
of
done
fun.
soap or anything like that, or you pretty much just been candles?
I've made like a body butter bar,
Okay.
so not soap, but not quite lotion, something kind of lotion adjacent. And then I make my own bath bombs,
Oh,
and I
nice.
actually just used my recycled filament to make a mold to make my own bath bombs.
Okay, I remember that that was the one where you had the push mold and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't
And I've
working
got
too
I
well
ended up
for you.
with like some random colors, but four of those are actually the gray recycled filament
Okay.
ones.
Okay, that's cool. Candles are nice. Yes, they are, Nate. Well, buddy, get the questions in. If you have all the questions, get them in there. I'm still talking. I can still pull the questions in. Um, okay, so are you have seen a lot of success with the TikTok store? Um,
I see a lot of people like the filament.
okay,
When I started selling it, I was kind of like, I bought enough filament, or I bought the order I put in was that I could use it. If nobody wanted to try it, and nobody wanted it, then I was like, well, that's just fine.
right.
Uh, but then it's actually I've sold through what I've ordered basically twice now. I'm on the verge of like I have very little filament left again. I went to go try. I was gonna print something yesterday, and I needed 2 rolls of black filament, and realized I don't have it.
Okay.
Like, so I don't even have it for me to print with, let alone on the shop.
Yeah.
Um, they get some of the other 3D printed stuff, like it's smaller stuff that's sold. But yeah, people have liked the candles. I think they're
Okay.
kind of fun. They're I always do holiday ones, so it's always kind of some kitschy little thing.
Yeah.
Did the
Yeah.
ghost. He was one of my favorites.
So you're actually buying filament and then you're reselling it through the store.
I am. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the recycled filament. I have test packs up right now
Okay.
that are like 10 meters of filament. Test it out, see what you think, give me feedback on it. Just because I'd like to get it tested on more printers before I start selling a kilogram of it.
Okay.
Just because I can test it on my bamboos, I can test it on my elegoo, but there's a lot of printers in the world, and I want to make sure that these tolerances are actually working for people
Right.
before I try and send a kilogram to you and then it doesn't work.
Right. Okay. Okay. No,
But then
that
I have the filament that I buy in bulk also
yeah.
that I then resell on the shop.
Okay. And then you have the two social media platforms and everything. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, you stay pretty busy then.
I do. I like
Mhm.
to. I don't
So
like to sit around too much.
there's no way you have kids.
I do not. I do have 2 dogs though,
Well, there you go.
and I
Okay.
treat them like children.
There's a lot of people in this room that are big dog people, right, Nate? Uh, why haven't I received my 10 millimeters of filament try? You're funny. You got to go to the TikTok shop and you got to
Exactly.
order it, and then you'll receive your 10 millimeters. Yeah,
It's
if
like
you
two
give her
dollars.
money, she'll give you filament. That's how it works. That's the.
It's like $2.
So,
Just enough to cover it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. What kind of dogs do you have?
Both of them are rescue mutts.
Okay.
I got the first one I got when I was in grad school. Somebody else was going to. They wanted a dog. I said I'd go with them. They didn't find a dog. I found Dolly. Um, as always happens, right?
Yeah.
And then the second one I found on Reddit. Somebody had ditched him, and they ditched him in Baytown, which is kind of southeast of Houston a little
Right.
bit. And they tried to take him to a bunch of shelters, and the shelters were all full, and so they couldn't keep him, and now he's mine.
Okay.
And I
Now
was
he's
laying on
mine.
my feet wearing a sweater.
Poor thing. Wearing sweaters.
Ow.
I've never been a big dog with clothes thing, a guy, but
Both of mine get really cold,
yeah.
which is like, yeah, and so then they won't go outside, and they sit there, or they sit there in the house and they just shiver.
Yeah.
These houses in Houston are not meant, they don't stay warm.
Yeah.
I've got a blanket, they've got a sweater.
Well, you don't have this weather like this much.
We do not,
So,
we do not. A
so.
dog from Craigslist, I just saw that comment, sorry.
That's cool. That is cool. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for being a part of the show tonight. Thank you, Erika, for doing this interview. I really, really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you
it.
for having me.
Is there any last words that you want to say to everybody here in the room watching?
I didn't think of any last
That-
words.
That's okay. That's okay.
um, uh, if you didn't get to ask a question you wanted to, just feel free to drop by my TikTok, and I'll try and get it answered.
Yeah.